Welcome to the Finance God channel.
Understanding the process and operations of credit bureaus. Most of your lenders and the banks want to keep you in the shadows. Why? Likely in light of the fact that the world's most intense keeping money premiums urgently require purchasers to get tied up with a couple of oft-told legends which sustain their organizations. Not knowing reality, however, can cost a shopper tens or even a huge number of dollars amid a normal lifetime. Where credit reports are worried, there are basically two arrangements of certainties. On the one hand, there is the genuinely good-for-nothing cheerful pat or leasers need you to trust, which you can discover rehashed in pretty much every credit-related book and internet website. And after that, obviously, there's the genuine truth which I'll instantly clarify. Lamentably, keeping in mind the end goal to genuinely grasp distinct reality, we should first scrutinize the common fiction. So we'll look at both here. This video will plan to obliterate the different social views sustained by your exploitative loan bosses and injurious obligation gatherers, on the off chance that you happen to be familiar with those, and transport you to a veritable Valhalla of purchaser psychological well-being. Stunningly better, perhaps you'll wind up sparing a couple of bucks as well. Thus, without assist presentation, think about this legend. Credit departments are legitimate, maybe even semi-legislative offices, and such indispensable American foundations work close by your loan bosses to keep each grown-up national towing the money-related line. There's such a great amount of amiss with essentially every expression of this dream, it's intense for a shopper supporter to know where to start. Undoubtedly, there is nothing much authority on the credit departments by any stretch of the imagination. Or maybe, the real customer detailing organizations, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, are just three extensive organizations working respectively inside the private division. Actually, on the off chance that you were so disposed, you could possess a bit of Equifax and Experian yourself just by calling your investor agent. Disregard purchasing partakes in TransUnion for the time being, however, as it's still exclusive. Tragically, excessively numerous loan bosses need Americans to trust that the credit authorities appreciate an official, semi-administrative establishment and will some way or another rebuff buyers who set out to battle back against messy, revealing, usurious APRs, exploitative late expenses, peculiar additional charges, unscrupulous obligation gathering practices, and more awful. Such banks need customers to trust that testing a credit report thing resembles scrutinizing a courthouse record. Luckily, that is simply not really. So in spite of the predominant perceptual reality, there are no official departments, and keeping in mind that most Americans see their credit reports to have in any event an indistinguishable lawful remaining from their driving records, truly the administration has no part in delivering them. Put obtusely, no law commands a credit report's presence, and such records might be thought to be close to a rundown of charges staying to be demonstrated. Your credit report is audited deliberately. That used to be valid. Sometime in the distant past in America, on the off chance that you connected for a credit account anyplace, a clerk in some dusty back room asked for a credit report from your nearby authority. Indeed, in those powerful days before the corporate titans assumed control over all credit departments were neighborhood. At that point each line of your record would be surveyed, and if there was an issue, you may be called or brought in for more talk. Lo, you may even be requested an individual promise confirming your mindful expectations. At that point a choice would be rendered, more often than not, however not generally, to support you. The issue with that plan of action is that it isn't exceptionally adaptable. Scouring a person's credit report requires some serious energy, and it likewise takes talented, with any good fortune, that is, people to render watchful judgments. Shockingly for reasonable basic leadership, that is simply not sensible on the off chance that you need to stretch out credit to several thousand or even a huge number of individuals on a national scale. Robotization, obviously, must spare the day, and innovation hasn't yet enabled that to incorporate an individualized perusing and examination of everyone's credit reports. That is the place the financial assessment becomes possibly the most important factor. An apparently superb arrangement, financial assessments really present a boatload of other new issues. So suppress without a moment's hesitation. Obviously banks need shoppers to trust that things haven't changed, that life is as curious as it was decades prior when client benefit signified individual administration, and that they really focus on the report itself instead of regarding potential clients as meager more than indifferent FICO assessments. Truth is told, such folklore asks a say of the following thing on our rundown of customer psychopathology. Counting a credit explanation is useful. What sheep they trust us to be. In the mid-1970s, when the Fair Credit Reporting Act initially gave Americans the privilege to incorporate such explanations on their reports, life was extraordinary. Planned banks still really scrutinized shopper records with true human eyeballs. So in those halcyon long stretches of yore, a mournful remark said in the report by the purchaser herself may have had any kind of affected contract time. These days the 100-word articulations can just mischief the shopper. Initially, as we've examined, such individual articulations are basically never perused by potential leasers in any case, since the financial assessment is the typical qualifying determinant. Second, those announcements just make it harder to leave upon a mycreditfocus.com exertion later in light of the fact that they serve to affirm what's now there. Thus, for instance, suppose a buyer connects an announcement that peruses something like this: these late installments were made simply because I was all of a sudden laid off, or wiped out. However, that appalling circumstance changed rapidly, and we have never been late with this or some other record since. That may sound dependable, yet sadly it says just this in all actuality. Note, yes, I truly was late paying these records. Furthermore, I'm not sufficiently keen to have a secret stash to cover essential leased installments if something turns out badly monetarily. Thusly, I am an awful credit hazard. Much more dreadful, suppose a customer hence picks up something about credit revealing and chooses to connect with mycreditfocus.com to help stand up to such issues legitimately, and in fact, any new difficulties will probably be rejected in light of the fact that there's no compelling reason to try and look. Again, after all, the appropriate response lies ideal inside the customer's announcement, which concedes blame. Keep in mind that palliating well-being or work conditions are seen as meager more than faltering reasons inside the customer credit industry regardless. Hence, buyer advocate old clocks for all intents and purposes dependably exhort that the main things to be debated are those senseless 100-word explanations, if any were ever embedded. The Credit Insider healthily agrees with that theory. Negative things must stay for a long time. That is sheer and articulate babble. All things being equal, buyers hear it consistently when they phone leasers straightforwardly. Sad, by law that means to stay on your report for a long time. Whenever you hear that, know this: the machine acting like a client benefit delegate is either spreading falsehoods or obliviousness, neither of which is useful for your monetary or psychological wellness. Without a doubt, lenders need buyers to trust the lie, since they can charge higher rates important to the individuals who have nastiest on their credit reports. To the extent they are concerned, the more drawn out the stuff stays on buyer credit reports on the whole, the bigger their benefits. Reality, however, is that no one is required to report anything about any of us for any base period of time to any other person. Put obtusely, applicable laws like the Fair Credit Reporting Act just serve to put limits upon to what extent things can stay on reports. Looking for help in repairing credit is unlawful. Such proclamations are the most slippery and most wiped out lies of all. Truth be told, this is the simple sane brain research a predator utilizes with his casualty. Here, I'm mishandling you, yet take after my guidelines. You can't converse with others about it. You can't request help. In the event that you do ask for or get assistance from another person, you'll just endure more harm over the long haul. Mind your own business. Keep in mind that I'll enlighten lies regarding you on the off chance that I wish. Furthermore, on the off chance that you have any issue with any of this, talk just to me about it. The reality slice straight to our sacred citizenship. All of us have an essential ideal to legitimate portrayal. At whatever point we are blamed for anything, regardless of whether that allegation shows up in the daily paper, on a rap sheet, on a credit report, or anyplace else, we are ensured the privilege to ask for help with both understanding and safeguarding against such assertions. A few organizations infrequently, and dubiously, recommend that utilizing an outsider abuses some law. Some of the time, they'll send a letter to shoppers who have tested at least one thing on their reports that fundamentally blames them for having looked for outside help with the issue. Note that they never really turn out and say doubtlessly, utilizing outside guidance is illegal, in light of the fact that it isn't. The particular bad behavior is never illuminated, obviously, however the impact is the same. By wearing the shroud of fake officialdom, they would like to threaten customers into moving down and getting appropriate once again into line with the various calm individuals who are reluctant to test such artificial authority at mycreditfocus.com. Customers are told to just send such correspondence to the firm, yet even those endeavoring to address their credit gifts their very own account are all around encouraged to just disregard such incitements. Insofar as buyers can be overseen through talented double dealing, loan bosses will keep on unfairly benefit to our detriment. Reified FICO ratings will keep on defining our appropriateness for home possession. Credit procurement, protection, and business will keep on being lost because of messy information support.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.